If you think the electric vehicle revolution is about, convincing you to buy a sleek new Tesla, you're actually looking in completely the wrong place.
Yeah, entirely the wrong place.
Right, because right now, 60% of all new car sales in Europe are commercial fleets.
Which is just a massive number when you really think about it.
It's huge, and the real EV transition is almost entirely invisible to the public. It's this massive, multi-billion-dollar war over logistics and B2B infrastructure. So welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
I've been going through just a towering stack of research today. We've got a comprehensive Electric industry report, an infrastructure analysis from Everged, plus all these breaking press releases from companies like B-Charged EV, Alpine Energy, Octopus Energy, and V-Green.
A lot of ground to cover.
Exactly. And our mission today is to look right past that consumer market and uncover how the world is actually solving the single biggest bottleneck of the electric transition.
Right. The stuff you don't see on the highway.
Yeah. We're talking about commercial range anxiety, brutal infrastructure delays, and how these, solutions being deployed right now are going to fundamentally rewrite the economics of literally everything delivered to your door.
Because the consumer market gets the headlines, sure, but the commercial sector is where the actual physics and the economics of the energy grid are being tested right now.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Literally. I mean, this isn't just a transport story. It's an energy system story. We are looking at a complete rewiring of global energy systems. And the shift is happening so much faster and honestly more creatively than anyone realizes.
The stakes here are just massive. I mean, reading through that Electric report, if Europe successfully electrifies its commercial fleets, they project a reduction of 1 billion tons of CO2 by 2030.
1 billion.
Yeah, 1 billion tons. To put a mental pin in that for you listening, that is about 5% of the combined projected emissions from the entire EU and the UK over that same period.
It's an incredibly heavy environmental lever.
It really is. But, I mean, we know these massive logistics conglomerates aren't doing this just for the environmental optics.
No, it's definitely not.
Right. It's about the bottom line. The pivot is being driven by pure, ruthless economics. The sources are projecting $246 billion in cumulative operational savings for European businesses by 2030.
And that number makes perfect sense when you break down the total cost of ownership, or TCO.
Right.
For instance, electric light commercial vans, the ELCVs, they can slash fuel costs by up to 60%.
Wow.
And for corporate cars doing really heavy mileage, like over 25,000 kilometers a year, they are logging a 10 to 20% baseline operating cost advantage.
Okay, let's unpack this because that sounds like upgrading your whole house to LED smart bulbs, right?
That's a good way to look at it.
Like the upfront cost at the hardware store makes you wince, but then your daily utility bill drops to absolute pennies.
Exactly. Because operating expenses, the OPEX, account for roughly 60 to 75% of a commercial vehicle's total lifetime cost.
Right, all the fuel and maintenance.
Yeah, an internal combustion engine is just a mechanical nightmare of moving parts. Belts, spark plugs, oil filters, transmission fluid.
So many things that can break.
Exactly. And an electric motor has a fraction of those failure points. So you pay that premium up front for the electric chassis, but the fuel savings and the hollowed-out maintenance schedules mean the lifetime financial curve just plummets.
But wait, I have to push back on the economics here for a second. What about the resale value?
The depreciation argument.
Yeah, if an EV battery dies or the tech just gets totally old, doesn't that massive depreciation hit entirely kill that $246 billion in savings?
Yep.
I mean, a fleet manager is going to be terrified of the back end when they try to sell that van in 3 years.
And those residual value fears are totally real. The German market data from our sources validates that exact anxiety.
What does it say?
Well, right now in Germany, battery electric vehicles, or BEVs, are only retaining about 38% of their original value after 3 years on the road.
Ouch, 38%.
Yeah. Compare that to over 50% retention for traditional diesel and petrol vehicles. So the financial hit on the secondary market is very tangible.
That's a huge loss.
It is, but here's the catch. Data from Geotab shows this is largely just a perception issue regarding the hardware.
Really?
Yeah. They tracked thousands of commercial EVs and found that the battery packs are actually only losing an average of 1.8% of their total capacity per year.
Wait, just 1.8% a year?
That's it. So practically speaking, A commercial battery could be on the road for 15, maybe 20 years before it genuinely degrades enough to impact a standard delivery route.
That's wild. I mean, so the batteries are easily outlasting the vehicles themselves.
Exactly. The engineering is vastly outperforming the secondary market's anxiety. The financial markets just haven't caught up to the chemistry yet.
Okay, so the real bottleneck isn't the battery dying in 5 years. The real nightmare is the battery dying today while it's out on Route 4.
Yes. Keeping them charged is the massive hurdle right now.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The average infrastructure analysis shows that fight electrification is projected to jump from 7% in 2024 to 36% by mid-2025.
It's an absolute vertical leap.
It is. But where are all these new vans actually plugging in? Average notes that right now, only 30% of fleet operators manage to recover from a charger failure in under 4 hours.
Which is unacceptable for logistics.
Right. And 4% are facing outages that stretch beyond 48 hours. And they point out that even a 97% service level agreement, which is, the legal minimum mandate in places like California, a 97% SLA, still equates to 11 days of annual downtime.
Right. And for a consumer, a 97% uptime sounds perfectly reliable, right?
Sure, you just go to a different charger.
Exactly. But for a logistics hub, 97% is catastrophic. It's a cascading operational failure.
Because of the schedules.
Yeah. If a commercial charger goes down overnight, you don't just have one dead van. You have staging areas backing up, warehouse floors running out of space, and entire delivery windows being missed.
The domino effect.
Precisely, which is why the industry is turning to smart charging and predictive diagnostics to prevent those 11 days of downtime.
How does that work?
They use something called the Open Charge Point Protocol, or OCPP. It constantly monitors things like temperature spikes or voltage drops to fix chargers before they actually break.
Okay, but if I run a logistics company, 11 days of dead trucks isn't just an inconvenience. It's lost contracts and absolutely furious customers.
Without a doubt.
And if installing new fixed chargers takes, 18 to 24 months just to get utility approvals and permits, how on earth are these companies supposed to scale from 7% to 36% right now without going totally bankrupt from the delays?
Well, they're unfixing the charger. They are bypassing the grid entirely.
Which is just crazy to think about.
It really is. There are some wildly creative solutions out there right now. Take B-Charged EV, for example.
Oh, yeah, the mobile units.
Right. They are in the middle of rolling out 100 mobile EV charging units across the U.S., and they have a hard target of deploying 1,000 units across the U.S. and Mexico.
And to be clear, these aren't just like diesel generators strapped to a truck bed.
No, not at all. The core innovation is their software. It's called their PSC AI platform, Predictive Smart Charging.
Right, I read about this. It integrates directly with the car's battery system, right?
Exactly. It monitors the vehicle's state of charge against its active route. And with just a single tap, or even automatically, it dispatches a mobile charging unit to intercept the driver before they are ever actually stranded.
It hunts them down.
Yeah. They're doing this right now in Mexico City. They deploy to a location, meet an Uber driver, and deliver a 65 to 70 kilowatt charge in just 20 to 30 minutes.
So what does this all mean? Instead of you driving to the gas station uses AI to literally hunt you down when you're running low.
It's a totally different paradigm.
It's mid-air refueling for delivery drivers.
That's a perfect analogy, and we're seeing similar vehicle-to-vehicle or VDV innovations elsewhere too, like Alpine Energy's MGEN system in Australia.
Oh, right, the one mounted on the pickup truck.
Yeah, it's the world's first vehicle-to-vehicle DC charging solution. It's a 40-kilowatt off-grid charger mounted on a donor vehicle. They use a BYD Shark 6, and it physically drives to the dead EV.
Just pulls right up to it.
Exactly. And this structural speed advantage is brilliant. These mobile companies aren't constrained by grid access or permits or 2-year utility timelines.
They just start working on day one.
Right. They are solving what they call charging deserts in a matter of days, like B-Charged is doing with their Apex 300 program.
Okay, that agility is amazing for an Uber driver or a light delivery van. But we have to address the elephant in the room here. Heavy commercial vehicles. The ACVs.
Right, the 18-wheeler.
Yeah, because you can't efficiently use a mobile charger in a pickup truck
Yeah.
to juice up a 40-ton 18-wheeler.
No, the energy density required for heavy freight means you have to pivot away from mobile cables entirely.
So what's the solution there?
What's fascinating here is the shift toward battery swapping.
Swapping over, plugging in.
Exactly. Look at the joint venture between Octopus Energy and CATL. They're calling it Swaptopus.
Great name.
It is. They are building a pan-European network of battery swapping hubs. specifically for electric lorries. They're starting in 2027 and scaling to 30 massive regional hubs by 2035.
And that's supposed to support, what, 300,000 trucks?
That's the target, yeah. And you can connect this to similar movements globally, like the MOU between V Green and Clean Fuel in the Philippines.
Right, they're targeting 600 charging stations and 1,200 battery swapping stations in places like Bhutan, starting with VinFast electric scooters, but laying the groundwork for more.
Yes. And swapping batteries in minutes completely eliminates truck downtime. It's just like pulling up to a diesel pump.
Right, 3 to 5 minutes and you're back on the road.
Exactly. But more importantly, these swapping hubs act as virtual power plants.
So,
They store grid energy when it's cheap, like at 2 a.m., and then they discharge it back into the grid when demand peaks. It's battery to grid or B2G technology.
wait, so the infrastructure used to power these massive trucks is actually doubling as a battery backup for the whole city.
Yeah.
Doesn't that completely flip the narrative that EVs are going to crash the power grid?
It entirely flips it. They stabilize the grid instead of straining it.
That is incredible. But implementing a system that complex requires some serious alignment. Which brings us to the global race, and specifically the China blueprint.
Right.
Because according to the data, China currently accounts for over 60% of global EV sales.
Their dominance is undeniable right now.
And the cost difference is staggering. The Electric report says Chinese electric heavy trucks are landing in Europe priced around $80,000 to $120,000.
Compared to $250,000 or more for equivalent European models.
It's less than half the price. How are they doing that?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, China's success comes from a highly integrated state strategy.
Meaning everything is connected.
Right. They align their transport, their energy sectors, and their digital ecosystems under one unified roadmap. The supply chains are built to work together from raw materials to final charging infrastructure.
Whereas Europe's approach is, well, incredibly fragmented.
Very much so.
Just looking at the policies, it's a total patchwork. Belgium relies on 100% tax deductibility. France uses strict fleet renewal quotas and actual penalties.
And the Netherlands uses zero emission zones to basically force compliance at the city level.
Right. They're all trying to patch together these tax breaks and private joint ventures. So my question is, if Chinese electric trucks are half the price of European ones, and they already have this fully integrated infrastructure, are Western fleet operators essentially forced to adopt Eastern technology just to stay economically viable in this transition?
Well, looking at it impartially, the raw economics certainly apply massive pressure. When you're a logistics firm and your operating expenses have to drop and one option offers integrated infrastructure and half the upfront cost, the fiduciary responsibility is going to push them toward whatever keeps their fleets moving and profitable.
Yeah, you really can't ignore that $246 billion in potential savings.
Exactly. It's a profound test of industrial competitiveness.
It really is. So to wrap this all up, the electric revolution isn't just about what car you decide to buy next. Not at all. It is this massive, entirely invisible B2B war over uptime, AI mobile dispatchers, and battery swapping. And it is actively rewiring the global energy grid and the supply chain that brings the world to your door.
It's fundamentally changing how we move goods and manage power.
Which brings me to a final provocative thought for you listening today. We talked about how those battery swapping stations act as virtual power plants for the grid.
Right, storing and discharging energy.
But imagine a future where the actual fleets themselves become a decentralized mobile power grid.
Ah, that's an interesting concept.
Right. Picture thousands of delivery vans and massive electric lorries sitting idle in their depots overnight. Could your neighborhood's next power outage be solved by a fleet of local delivery trucks simply plugging into the block and keeping the lights on?
A mobile grid on wheels.
Exactly. Something for you to mull over. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.